Okay, so I'll get one thing out. I came out of the closet last Sunday. And then the only, I think the word I always use to describe this is it's been a journey. It's been emotional, it's been a roller coaster. But let's start at the beginning. I was born in Colombia, 1988, and my mom and I, and my dad of course, but Mama Bear, we ran around from doctor to doctor for the first 8 years of my life, looking for a diagnosis. We were in Canada, so it wasn't that easy. And salty baby, coughing baby, worried mother, looking for answers. And it was really difficult, I'm sure, for her and my support system. I was just a kid, and luckily I wasn't that affected. I didn't really realize I was coughing. I had a pretty normal childhood, but I can only imagine now that I understand and I have opened myself to the realization that I have CF, what she endured and what a million other mothers go through. So the journey starts there. At 8 years old, I'm diagnosed with CF, and so you can imagine, obviously in Colombia, care is not like this here in Canada. So it was tough those first years, but at least we had some answers. At least we knew what was wrong with me. We had very limited treatment options, but we're trying to do what we could. But Mama Bear, Papa Bear wanted more. They wanted a future for me, and they wanted the ability to extend my expiration date, as I usually call it, beyond that immediate access to treatment. So luckily the doctor that diagnosed me there was med school, went to med school with a doctor here at the St. Mike's Hospital, and part of the transplant team here as well. And we started looking into Canada, or they started looking into Canada. They were still 10, 11 years old. And the gene was discovered here. The best care in the world for CF was here. So it was obvious we had to be here. Luckily in the year 2000, age 12, we moved here with my family, my mom, dad, and sister. My lung function at the time before I left Colombia had already decreased to roughly 46%, just at 12 years old. I believe within a month, or maybe 2 months of care with sick kids, it went up to 96%. Now, obviously, you need to go through a bunch of processes before you get OHIP, before you get your medications here in Canada. But our first appointment at Sick Kids was life-changing. I went from, to put it very bluntly speaking, a very ghetto hospital in Colombia to this amusement park full of color, full of joy, full of hope. And I remember the team gathered every medical sample we could get their hands on just to patch us through until we got the medications that we had access to now that we have OHIP. But they bridged that gap, and 50% lung function increase. So I want to contrast a little bit, just talking about care and the amazing care that we're privy to here, because part of CF, as Dr. Thomas spoke about, it deals a little bit with some diabetes, obviously because of the pancreas, but something that has always been very contrasting is when I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia in Colombia, they told me to stop eating sugars. I was a little kid, 11 years old, 10 years old, so I think I didn't eat sugar or anything at all. Well, that had sugar in it for a good 2 years. And the first appointment here at Sick Kids, they're like, forget about that. You need to wait. We need to get you healthy. We need to arm you with the ability to fight infection. And every time we go through a exasperation, I think I lose 5 kilos, and then I start gaining them a kilo at a time each week after I get better. So one of the best weapons that we have is our weight. So to touch a little bit on the CF diet that Dr. Tallis spoke about, and I try to find some joy in having CF, but my friends are wondering why I'm eating like 3 cheeseburgers and 20 nuggets, and they're all worried about, calories and fats. I just gobble them away. I drink Coca-Cola for breakfast every morning, and that's all right. A little corrosive, but all good. I'm gonna get my calories. So, it's just difference of care, and just arriving here was super powerful. And when you're a kid, like Steph mentioned, you have very limited, almost tunnel vision, and then you start growing up, and then the mental health aspect starts taking a toll. I've always felt very betrayed by my body, and that has obviously spilled over in mental health, in my mental health. Dealt with some self-injury in the past, substance abuse, and there are things that, some people, normal people go through, but this was just my way of saying, sorry body, if you're gonna do this to me, I think I wanna win that battle first. And given the fact that we have an expiration date, or we had until these wonderful modulators came in the market, I wanted to win that battle. So, you go through all of this, and then the transition to the team at St. Mike's, and finally you're in charge of your care. Then you realize how comprehensive the team needs to be, from the dietitian to the physio to everything that Dr. Tellis has mentioned and you saw in the video. And you also realize how fast the CF world is moving. Back in the day, they still exist in the States, but Canada used to have CF camps for kids. Now, what we know about infection control, we can't be in another room with a CF patient, or definitely keep them in an arm's length, or 5 feet. But I remember waiting in the waiting room at the respirology floor for our CF clinic appointments in a room full of CF patients. Now things have changed. Now we get our own room the second we get there. Everybody comes to us. There is no waiting room. They just pretty much, have changed their approach and been a lot more mindful. And just something as simple as infection control, which you would think would go a little bit further back in time, is something that was implemented not long ago. This thing becomes our family. You have jobs, and you get so close to coworkers when you're at a job for 3-4 years, and then if they were your family, then you got them on Facebook, maybe like them, whatever. And we see this CF team. I've been seeing them for 14 years, and the relationships that we have built, I feel so close to them, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And the genuine care that we see from our physicians and from the rest of the team at St. Mike's is powerful. Oftentimes when we're hospitalized because of an exasperation, there's no room at 6B, 6 Bond at St. Michael's. Everybody wants to be at 6 Bond. So we get put in different units, sometimes in the kidney unit. I love the neonatal unit. Great floor, the nurses are lovely. However, there is absolutely no comparison to the team at 6 Bond. Their tact, their tone, their empathy, you just feel like you don't want to be at St. Mike's, you don't want to be hospitalized, but you're in such good hands, and it's so powerful. And I want to let you know that you guys have that power when you do become doctors. And I don't want to say it's not hard. I'm sure it is. Showing up to work and being the best you could ever be every day is difficult. It's difficult for a regular person just to be the best they could be, but you have that power, and just know that we feel it as patients. A little bit about coming out of the closet. So it took, I'm now married, I've been with my wife for 11 years, but it took me 3 years to tell her I had CF. That's messed up. It took me until 3 years ago to tell my best friend I had CF. it took me a long time to even just be able to say the words. And this past year has been absolutely profound in the journey, because I now feel empowered to fight back towards the disease, because I found my voice, because I stopped living it in silence like a secret. Jacob just coughs. Is he okay? I gotta tell you, when you're in a restaurant with your family and you have a cough attack and they don't even react and everybody around you thinks like your mother's letting you die, it's quite something, but Jacob just coughs. Oh, I have a lung thing. Yeah, I'm just getting over a cold. And that was my life until not long ago. And like I said, I came out of the full closet this past Sunday with a very comprehensive social media post, and the empathy and the love and support that came out of it has been just absolutely filled my heart. And I hope that not just with CF, but every illness, anything that you guys are going through, that you don't feel scared to talk about it with your people. Everybody's going through something, so it's important to just get it out. Sorry, I'm rambling, but I'm not a structured staff, and I didn't do this last year. I had the opportunity to join the Patient Family Advisory Board at St. Mike's, and that's when I first met Steph. I met Steph in a phone conversation, teleconference, this past December. And she feels like she's now one of my best friends. We have been on Zoom calls for the past month, steadily, both of us plugged into IV poles, trying to go through this journey together, to support each other in our community, to unite, because the fact that we can't be with each other, we can't get together, is very limiting in how everybody deals with their illness. So it's been a beautiful journey of getting to meet other CF patients. My first conversation with a CF patient, with somebody that had CF, was less than a month ago, like I said. And that in itself is crazy. I'm 32 years old, and my support team understands. I know our care team understands, but nobody understands what you're going through unless they're experiencing it as well. Without getting too political, I do want to speak to bureaucracy and systemic issues that I know you guys have a fire and a calling to care for people. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going to med school. I really hope that you never forget that the system doesn't erode your passion, and that you remain a voice for whoever you care for in whatever discipline or illness that you focus on, like some of our care team has. Because hoping for a cure for so long and realizing, that it's out there, that there are stories that we see on our online communities, CF communities, of patients that now run 30 miles without a single cough, that can pick up their kids again, run up hills. The hope of the cure that we had always hoped for, it's never going to be a magical fountain that's going to give me new lungs, but it's going to be something that can tackle the disease at its very core. And right now, Canada is a little lagging in that. So the slide that Dr. Tellis showed of, Canada, the Canadian life expectancy for CF patients is 10 years more than the US. Well, if we don't do something, that's going to invert, and that's going to flip on its head. We came here with my family because Canada was the leader in CF research and CF care, and we're falling behind the rest of the world. I just want to thank you for your time, and I hope you use your voice and your opportunity to make a difference and care for people, and really never forget why you're here. So thank you very much.